Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people. Three Amigos podcast. Chris, Anthony, Frankie, all here today. We're talking about the new
I know.
WWE World Heavyweight Championship that
You
was
can't say
introduced
that. It's title.
introduced by Triple H
You
on
broke
Monday
the
Night
rules.
Raw, and we're gonna get a new champion crowned in about a month at Night of Champions in the beautiful,
Progressive.
progressive city
Progressive.
of Jeddah,
It's so
Saudi
damn
Arabia.
progressive. So damn progressive.
I can't believe how progressive it is.
Just look at it.
Yeah, so we got a new title. There are now two championships,
Mm-hmm.
and
Allegedly.
I guess first question, what do you guys think of the design?
It's okay.
All right,
I'm,
great. How about you, Anthony?
I kind of like the older one more.
think everybody does.
Yeah, that's not an original answer though, obviously. We'd obviously like the original one more.
But yeah. I mean, it looks. I like what you like, the criticism you gave it. You wish it was just kind of all gold.
I do
Um,
wish it was, if it was all gold with the W, I think it would look super clean.
I
I
think
think
it'd
that'd
look
be
a bit
fine.
better. Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I think they should have done that to the current titles. I think they
Yeah.
should have made the back of it gold instead of black.
I sent you the picture of how like it kind of reminded me of like the cruiserweight title mixing with big gold. So that's
Yeah, I can
not
see that.
it's not the best.
Kind of looks
Um
like the AEW title, if I'm being honest. I mean, it also looks like the UFC title. Like all those belts kind of look very similar now.
hmm,
A lot of branding. A lot of branding.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not really digging it.
Well, I'm only comparing it to what we currently have, which are two of the ugliest championships that I've ever seen. So it looks way better than a belt that is literally just a giant letter W. Um,
mm,
I much prefer a belt that looks like it had actual effort put into it, and this one looks like it did have some design, but branding is it's necessary these days, so it's obviously was always going to have WWE's logo, just like AEW puts their logo on the belt, TNA, New Japan. Well, New Japan's a little complicated, but UFC, all those companies brand their belts, so that's just how it is. I like it. I like it. I think it looks good. I think it looks classic. I kind of want to see it on someone. It's kind of hard to get a
hmm.
like a vibe for the new belt
It
unless
looks
someone's
smaller.
wearing it.
I think it's smaller than the original
I can't
big.
tell. I can't like I think so, but Triple H is a big dude, so like when he's standing next to it, I'm like,
Yeah.
So
I don't know, like
imagine that on someone like Bobby Lashley. Like
yeah.
Won't fit them. Some dudes it doesn't fit, so that's why they put it on. They
yeah.
wear it around their shoulder. Big Show. Hey, body positivity here. Stop laughing before we kick you
I
off.
think the over the shoulder look looks pretty cool. It looks kind of
Yeah, I like it.
boss.
Uh,
Yeah. Then you have
Jacob,
those who are like too skinny and it falls off their waist.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Well,
typically
now it's
the
all Velcro, so
yeah, it was trash, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I guess make that tight, 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 tight,
Who
tight.
do who do you guys think should win it?
Who should win or who's gonna win?
All right, let's do that. Then let's split it up. Perfect. This is why we have co-hosts. This is why we're family. This is why we're amigos and bros. Who's gonna win and who should win? Go. Somebody. Anybody. Because Vince is gonna pick someone. He's gonna rail it to the ground.
Yeah, I think that's what's kind of a bummer is like Vince is gonna choose, right? Like we're not
Or
like
the Saudi Prince.
nobody's really sitting here thinking like this isn't gonna be Vince's decision. It's obviously gonna be his decision. So probably Cody, because they spent a lot of money on Cody and Vince doesn't care about storylines. So screw the whole Cody Roman thing. It's probably gonna be Cody.
Hmm.
I don't think it should be, but if I'm trying to think of who Vince would put the title on,
I'd like to think Cody would fight that because, American Nightmare, he wants to win it in America. So
oh, it doesn't matter. None of if Vince is making the decision, there is no argument. Like who are you
yeah.
arguing with a wall?
Yeah, I know.
It's just up to him.
He's not in creative. He's not supposed to be creative control, man. Come on. It's his company anyways. He could do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I don't know, Cody or Brock Lesnar. Probably one of those two.
Wow, you just don't give a shit. You just don't give a shit.
If you're well, if the question is who will probably get the title, then I'm going based off the fact that I think Vince is making the decision, and I think he would pick one of those two guys.
I could see Brock as the choice.
Yeah.
He never actually held that belt before. Well, that's another conundrum or like
Yeah, we don't
issue.
really
It's
know what the
lineage is.
what the history of these
Yeah.
belts, because this is called the World Heavyweight Championship, but
Yeah,
TBD if they're continuing the
the
WHC history or if this is
a whole new history.
like if the person who wins this is going to be referred to as like the inaugural champion.
Yeah, like the cruiserweight title technically was a whole new lineage. It didn't go towards the old WWE WCW one, whereas WCW one and WWE one held the same lineage.
Yeah. The Universal title kind of screwed all this up. Like it screwed up all the continuity. Yeah. Because that
Kind
belt
of
had no continuity.
exactly, but that's fine because like they had merged the world title and world heavyweight. And then they just gave like, and the only reason they did that was because Brock. I'm sure you had the stories like Brock's like, I'm not carrying around two damn belts,
Yeah, he
as
didn't want to do
quoted.
the two belts thing.
Yeah, so that's why they made the new one where the W didn't look like like a scratch mark. Instead, it became more like an actual like nice looking belt. Yeah, it's
So he didn't want to carry two belts.
yeah.
No.
Isn't that what Paul Heyman is for?
Yeah, I mean, sure, but like, yeah, he didn't.
I
He
don't
didn't
know, man.
want.
You try saying no to Brock Lesnar. He tells you what he wants to do, you're just gonna say yes.
Yeah, so they made him. They consolidated and gave him the one belt, which technically would held the lineage of the heavyweight title, and it was
Right?
still considered like the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at some point too, because it had the heavyweight championship name in there, but it was also called the
Yeah.
World Championship. It, it's there's a lot of technically messed up continuity with the championship because technically they referred the classic the winged eagle belt as the heavyweight title as well with
Right.
WWE. So obviously once they got WCW they separated as WWE World Champion and then there was also the heavyweight championship.
See,
Yeah, it's all convoluted. It's all messy, but
That's a little messy.
I don't know. Chris is on the side that they should continue the lineage. I'm on the side where they should just look. It's a new era of WWE. They should just do a whole new lineage. But that's just me.
I just think it's tough because they're calling the belt the same thing. Like if the belt had a new title like what the Universal title was, where there was no previous Universal champion. So I just think it's a little confusing to act like you're calling it. I'm aware that it's like a different belt physically,
Right,
but you're giving it the same name as a belt that previously existed.
right. Which is what they've done
So
before. I get it. Yeah.
well, I don't
yeah.
I don't have an issue either way. Like if they want to, because I do think like if you want to have a new belt, you should treat it like a new belt. Like nobody's held the title because technically nobody's held that specific title before, but in name, plenty of people have been world heavyweight champion.
Right.
Um,
It's like I don't like for me, I don't see Cody as an option for as a choice for me to win it. Mainly because of the whole storyline with him and Roman, even though you said Vince doesn't care about story, which
he does not.
he doesn't, so I'd probably give it like my choice would possibly be someone like Drew McIntyre or
Mm,
They could do that so he can stay.
there are those I don't know how many more rumors are still floating around with Randy coming back at some point, but I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on that if Randy would come back and go for it or not go for it,
I wouldn't be very happy if Randy got another world title run.
I don't think you're gonna see Randy Orton again wrestling. So
Damn, way to kick a guy while he's
Well,
down.
they say I don't know. He might have
he's
gotten
old,
traded.
man. He's old. He's got a family. Like you're talking about
Yeah, Riddle. He
neck
has
and
to go.
back
He has to
injuries.
go be with his boy Riddle.
If I was Randy Orton, I don't think it's worth coming back.
Yeah. Other than that, it was like are they trying to do are they trying to get Roman to beat Bruno Sammartino's record for the reign of it?
Oh
Because
God, I hope not.
That's 10 years,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah, 7 years, 8 months, roughly.
Nah.
I would hope
And
not.
I figured, I don't know what they're doing with Cody and Roman. I know he's gonna face Brock next. Is that a
Backlash.
Backlash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Puerto Rico. Yeah,
So whatever happens with that, and then I mean I wouldn't mind seeing Drew McIntyre as heavyweight champion.
that'd be
Um
cool.
Yeah.
maybe Sheamus only in the mindset of he used to be like a top tier champion. He kind of went, I guess, a little bit lower tier, and he's just with his brawling brutes. But I think it'd be cool to see Sheamus get another rise for a little bit,
Mm, maybe.
just for a
Yeah,
little
I mean,
bit.
Sheamus has to finish his Intercontinental title story. Like that's been like what, like almost a year that he's been trying to win that title now from Walter, who's still
Yeah.
champion.
You stay.
If I was saying who should get it, and he's not my favorite wrestler, but I would give it to Seth Rollins because I
Mm.
think he's popular enough. I think when I'm trying to think of guys that you can take seriously as top champions, I would probably give it to him, unless you're gonna draft him to SmackDown,
Is he
or
currently
Roman
going
goes to
for
Raw. I mean, Roman
United
stays on
States?
SmackDown.
No.
What's that?
No, he was wondering if it was going for like the US title. I said no.
I
I
don't
think
know what's happening with the U.S. title
Yeah.
anymore.
Because I saw something about it with him and Theory, and I was like, don't waste this guy's time with Theory.
No, it's a
Like,
triple threat. It's Bronson Reed, Theory, and Lashley at Puerto Rico.
oh, okay.
I
Because like
think Bronson gets that.
even with me, like I'm not a big Seth Rollins fan, but I could see him as champion, especially with like his we mentioned it in the last video we did about like how the crowd interacts with the person with like
Hmm.
Sami Zayn and all that. Like Steph comes in and everyone just loses their freaking mind. I lose my mind when I hear his song and I'm like, I don't even like the guy. And I'm like, I just go along with the like it's just so good and like it just gets you into it. So like, yeah, I'd be down for a Seth heavyweight.
Seth is gonna make you a believer then.
Yeah, I feel
And
like
he's
he
gonna
deserves it too. Like it is kind of a turn off how like I don't want to say like self-obsessed Seth Rollins is with himself, but he is really good. Like nothing, he's never like lying about how talented he is and like how hard he works. And everything he said about Cody is true, and everything he said about Roman is true. About, have part-time champion, Cody like wasn't even there and then shows up and all of a sudden just gets handed a main event spot. While meanwhile, Seth, what did he even do at WrestleMania? Oh, Logan
Seth,
Paul. Like,
yeah.
give me a break.
I mean,
He
hey, he
got the
landed he
celebrity
landed Becky
match.
Lynch, so
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he deserves it. He's always, well, he's been like pretty healthy for a while, so it seems like a safe and the fans like him. I mean, I can't think of a big heel you would put the belt on who would feel legit besides Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. I don't even want to put that energy out there into the universe.
yeah, and I don't think anyone from Judgment Day, currently is worthy of that status right now. So
Yeah, I
there's
mean, Dominic Mysterio would be funny for the memes because I think people would hate him even more than they already do. But he's not like, you know, it's not a good idea to give
this
him
is
the
what prison gets you. A world heavyweight.
I mean, I would be fine with Finn Balor winning it too. I don't, as much as I love Finn Balor, I just don't see him in that main event spot. Also, because he literally just got pinned by Cody like 2 days ago, for the
And
second time in like a couple months, which shows you that Vince is not doesn't watch the product because he booked the match again. Uh, yeah, I mean probably Seth, but I don't know. It
How
feels like
about how
it's gonna be
about
Cody or Brock. They pay them the most money, so
how about
yeah.
Omos?
well, obviously
Almost
that's who should win. Like
Homo sapiens unite.
Homo sapiens rise.
Rise.
No, almost should get released. Fingers crossed. He gets drafted to the unemployment line. No, I'm just kidding,
Game.
Almas.
Your love-hate relationship with Omos, man.
It continues. We're gonna meet each other at Comic-Con again this year. Do you guys feel like this is consolation belt? See a lot of dialogue going around that this is the you couldn't beat Roman Reigns championship.
I don't really see it that way. I try not like when people started saying that, yeah, I'm like, ah shit, I didn't think about that. But at the same time, it's like it can definitely be erased so as long as you have a strong champion and it's booked right and the story makes sense. But that is all going to go away if you have an idiot like Vince who thinks he's still in touch or whatever he tells himself and makes him feel good at night when he goes to bed. Like it just it's tough. It's tough to
See,
to say because like I don't think it's a consolation prize but I also get why people are saying that. I absolutely get it.
so I kind of see now that Chris mentioned, I kind of feel that way in the sense of like, I guess you can call it a hot take or whatever. Like, I can compare it to like, chocolate ice cream is great, but because we don't have any more, here's vanilla ice cream. It's still good, just not as good as chocolate ice cream.
Right.
You're only
Like,
getting it because we're out of chocolate.
yeah. And Roman is just couldn't be Roman, so you can try this one, and this one is newer. Some people may like it more than the old one. Some people may not like it as more the other one, but you can get this one.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but with that example too, it's just like it's still what it is. It's ice cream. It's still what it is. It's a championship. It's a belt. It's a title. Um, and there's two different brands, and obviously the only reason we're even creating a whole other or returning, whatever you want to call it, is because an idiot thought it was a good idea to unify the titles,
Right.
unify both belts while you have a brand split. LOL.
Yeah.
And speaking
Didn't
of
have to do it.
brands, and ice cream, Turkey Hill is the best vanilla ice cream out there, people.
All right, but we're not doing. They don't sponsor the show. They don't buy
They
Turkey Hill.
might.
Anybody
They
who heard
might.
that, don't. Their ice cream sucks. Don't buy it.
Bunny Hill. Bunny Hill's
Turkey
pretty
Hill,
good.
if you want to sponsor the show,
Bunny.
by all means,
Blue Bunny
we'll
is good.
shill your ice cream.
I like Blue Bunny.
I never had
Or
Blue
Ben and
Bunny.
Jerry's or Haagen-Dazs. We're open to sponsorships right now.
Fuck Ben
Haagen-Dazs.
Jerry's. They're too expensive.
Haagen-Dazs is delicious. Anyways,
I was gonna say that, like, I feel like back in the day, I mean, I always loved having two champions, but back in the day, the person made the belt feel important. Like, there were plenty of instances where the WWE title didn't feel as important as the World Heavyweight title.
sure.
And there were plenty of instances where the World Heavyweight title didn't feel as important as the WWE title. Like, the first example that comes to my head specifically is WrestleMania 23, where Batista and The Undertaker had the way better feud, and their match was for the World Heavyweight title and was in the middle of the show, even though it was The Undertaker's undefeated streak against Batista, who at the time was like one of the hottest superstars in the company.
Yeah.
And the main event was John
Was that
Cena
Shawn
versus
Michaels?
HBK. HBK substituting for Triple H, who was supposed to originally do the match. I mean, Undertaker Batista was the money match with
Right.
the World Heavyweight Championship, and it just didn't main event the show. So I think there's instances where, like, kind of depends who the champion is. I think that, like, right now it kind of feels like a runner-up title, but that's only because it just got introduced. Like, Seth Rollins hasn't been champion for 6 months. Like, Roman Reigns has been champion for like 3 years, and he's been unified champion for over a year now. So, and he hasn't been beaten, so he just feels like a bigger deal. It's like just kind of how it is.
Man.
I think that the farther we get away, this championship will feel just as legit. Although they have to change the name of the Roman Reigns titles now because they're not undisputed. Unless he
Yeah.
also wins this one, which I really hope doesn't happen.
I think it's gonna happen. Nah.
But you can't. They had this issue with the. Did they have one title when Lesnar was undisputed champion? Was that the only belt?
It was undisputed when the one that Roman has, the black one. And then the other undisputed championship was the one that Brock also held, but the one that Rock and and Hogan all held at one point.
But at the time, was that the only championship, like top title in WWE?
No, they also brought back the heavyweight title.
So they had two titles, even though one of them was literally called the Undisputed Championship.
Yeah.
They got to change the name
So
because
here's
that's
what you
going to
do.
make this feel less legitimate.
You could see like a subliminal message slash conspiracy, right? Give Roman 3 belts. He's the tribal chief. Try 3.
Right.
There you go. Three
Yeah.
belts.
Yeah. Yeah.
One for him, one for Jimmy, one for Jay. So you can look at it, you can't hold it, or you hold it for me because it's too heavy and I have too many to carry. But like, hold it, it's just not for you. You just gotta hold it for me, so you look good with it. But it's
You
all
guys think
Romans.
they should give Roman a new belt, like just a single belt?
I think they're just gonna keep the Universal title, and that's gonna be his belt.
Are they gonna get rid of the other one?
Yeah, I don't think they give him a new belt.
Do you
'Cause-
think they're just gonna like retcon, act as if the Universal title is now the undisputed, or that you think they'll just go back to calling it the Universal title? Like he's not but he was the undisputed champion. I don't know how you.
Yeah, I
I know
think.
logistically it doesn't need to make sense because wrestling isn't real. Like
Mhm.
none of these title names actually matter. But like logistically as a fan, it's confusing to try to understand like what champion is Roman? Because for the last year, you've told me he's the undisputed champion. And now, sort of out of the blue, I mean, like, obviously, some of us knew that they were going to introduce this title soon.
Mhm.
But, like, sort of out of the blue, you just came out and were like, oh, here's another top championship. And I'm like, okay, so is the Roman thing like not a big deal anymore? Like nobody really cares who ends up beating him now? Does that still matter? He doesn't even have a number one contender. They're literally going to crown this champion before Roman Reigns even defends his title again. So it just kind of, as a fan, it kind of leaves you in a tough spot, at least for me, where I'm like, I don't really know where Roman Reigns stands and all. Like, because Triple H went out and kind of sort of ragged on Roman a little bit. And so now when Roman
Mhm.
Reigns comes out and he's going to be like, hey, what's with this fake runner up silver medal championship you guys are throwing around on Raw? Like, it feels like it's going to be hard to not invalidate the title within the storyline of Roman Reigns being undisputed champion. I don't really know where they go from here. They didn't make it very, very clear, like, can Roman challenge for that title? Is there a reason he can't?
Brand split. That's why.
What was
Allegedly.
because they said Brock can't challenge Roman anymore, right?
Yeah, that's
Right.
stipulation.
Okay,
He's definitely gonna win
so
it then.
He could challenge for this one,
yeah.
Yeah.
right? How are
Yeah.
did they say how they're gonna do this? This like a tournament, or are they just gonna fucking pick two guys and be like, Cody Brock, Night of Champions, winner is the World Heavyweight Champion?
It could be a dates tournament. I don't know.
Yeah. I wonder how they're gonna do this.
It's gonna go to Bad Bunny.
I'd be fine with that.
I'm worried that Logan Paul is gonna win this one.
Oh
Like
God, I
not right
forgot he's
away, but I'm worried that part of the reason this title exists is so that he can win it.
I forgot that he's part of the roster.
He should have
Yeah.
won the 24/7 title.
Honestly, should have been US champion. That would have
That's
been
it.
like a realistic title he could have held. Like nobody really cares if it's defended on TV that often.
Mm-hmm.
Could have showed up at the pay-per-views once in a while.
Beat
Wouldn't have
up
been a bad
Theory,
US
get it?
champion for
Yeah.
like a little while, not for fucking like a whole year, but like a couple months. Logan wins it, loses it at SummerSlam or something. Have been cool.
Did you see his podcast episode with Cody Rhodes?
No.
No, I don't
I
watch
saw I
this.
saw a clip where they were talking about in Japan how you can't go to a gym with tattoos,
Mhm.
and Logan's friend was like, he can't even go to Japan,
That's true.
and I was like,
Oh
Damn.
yeah.
shit, cold burn, but like, yeah, bro, like
Yeah.
I don't like Logan. I mean, a lot of people hate
Deserved.
Logan. I just don't fucking like Logan Paul.
A
Like,
deserved burn. He
yeah,
deserves it. He also knows he deserves it, but yeah.
yeah.
So how do we feel about this? Do you guys think this was a good idea? Like I know that it's a little messy because of Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon. Mostly Vince McMahon. It's not Roman Reigns' fault. But
Hmm.
do you think that this is a good idea? That to bring back a second, they're gonna have the draft this Friday, next Monday. There's gonna be two separate brands. It's gonna be two separate top champions. Is this a good idea, or would you have preferred they keep the one top champion? Everybody chases Roman. Somebody tries to be the one that dethrones him.
No, I thought there always needed to
Mm.
be two champions, just because like that's their history for the last what almost 30 years now. fine, more like 20 years ever since they did that, like the official brand split, and they had the heavyweight title on Raw with Triple H like just being gifted that belt, and then
Yep.
there was the WWE title on SmackDown. So I think yes, it's something that they should do, but they could. I mean, and they've already kind of done that, like for almost an entire year, where it's like where Roman should be the champion, and then we should just chase Roman. And as fun as it was, as decisive as it was, because the only reason I think people tolerated it because it was the Bloodline storyline. Now that Bloodline storyline's pretty much stagnant and kind of almost unwatchable now. In my opinion, maybe that's another hot take. We'll save that for another day. But like, I feel like what Roman has done is great for him and his legacy, and even for WWE. I think it is best to have a separate title from him, and I think we called this at some point where like either they separate the titles or they make a new title and bring back the
Right.
heavyweight title. We were saying that, and maybe I guess Trips had the same idea. You know, he listened, and it just sucks because like of the situation and the fact that we have to tune in to watch it in such a decisive like basically pay-per-view slash kind of like a house show,
Mm-hmm.
glorified house show. Um, I think it's a good idea though overall because yeah, like the Roman being champ for a year, undisputed with both belts essentially being defended on both brands, but it's also brands. But it just like you said, it's wrestling. It doesn't matter. It's like quote unquote fake. It's not real. Or in terms of it's just story scripted. So yeah, I think it was a good idea because they needed to stop this you know idea that there is a brand split, but also not one. Neither brands has an actual champion. It's just one whole champion as a whole. Which, again, the idea of it was cool for a year. They tried it out, and they probably thought, you know what, this is probably just a one-time thing we should do, or once in the blue moon, but never again, or not until another 10 years goes by.
Yeah, I found the whole like I mean at this point now, just Roman being the one champion and the whole bloodline thing has just been boring now to me. And I always felt Roman as a performer was kind of boring to me. That's just my personal opinion on him. But um, it's kind of a little bit of a what'd you call it earlier, Chris? A constellation belt.
Yeah, silver medal.
So yeah, so like that as well as a hey, wherever Roman gets drafted to, that'll be those wrestlers who would want to compete if they want against him, and then the heavyweight goes to whoever it is going to go to, and maybe at some point they're going to eventually just have Roman, I guess, lose, and it goes back to just one belt. I don't know, who knows, but
Yeah,
yeah, I say not a bad idea to get the two belts if they actually do it well, but with Vince being the one who's gonna make the choices, yeah,
right. The same guy who's unified the titles multiple times.
yeah.
And they keeps trying to separate them. I think that I feel the way about this that I felt about Austin Theory when he lost the briefcase, which was like in the moment, it's a little messy. There's a lot of questions. It doesn't make too much sense in terms of just out of the blue, here's a new championship, because they literally didn't hint at this at all. And then like an awkward amount of time after WrestleMania, it wasn't like the night after WrestleMania. They're like, all right, you know what? Fuck Roman Reigns. Here's a new belt. They were like in the end of April, they're like, all right, new title. So I think in the moment, maybe it's a little bit like awkward and sort of sloppy, but I think the main goal is to have two champions, one on each show.
Hmm.
And 6 months from now, the same way we all forgot about Austin Theory's incredibly stupid way that he lost the briefcase,
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll all sort of just forget about like the awkwardness of how this title was introduced. And when we're finally getting a champion who is defending it on every pay-per-view, I think we're just gonna be excited that it exists. That was kind of my last question is like, if Roman Reigns was not a part-timer, do you think they would have needed a second championship?
Hard to say, honestly.
Like he's on Backlash, he's on Money in the Bank, he's doing all the shows, he's always that like classic champion, defends it at every pay-per-view. Do you think there would have been a need, or is this more this guy's not around? It's been a year. We can't have him only show up once every 3 months. We gotta need like put on another title. Like if he was around all the time, would we all feel like, hey, we need another title because this is kind of bullshit?
Well, there's also that talk where it was after his match where they were doing the press conference or whatever, and they said how he beat all these guys and then he ran through them again. I think if he was a full timer going to all the events and all the shows, you're eventually gonna say like, okay, who's gonna finally get the win, and rinse and repeat of wrestlers going in and out. Whereas this one, you kind of have like a fresh restart on a championship run. And then whatever they want to do with Roman. I think at this point, I'm just happy to see something new
Yeah.
happen. Something fresh and new and whatever, and see what comes out of it. And I guess you get a second, championship event, a match at like SummerSlam and WrestleMania and stuff like that. So
There were some rumors early on about who the top draft picks are going to be, and if those rumors are true, then I'm very curious who. In general, I'm curious who's going to face Roman Reigns next because he hasn't been on TV, and the next big show I think is technically Money in the Bank because they're going to go to back to Europe,
Yeah.
but I don't know if he would be on that one, so I kind of think SummerSlam, which feels insane that this guy might not defend the title for like another 4 months, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was time. I think it kind of sucks that we're kind of at this point now, but it's really the fault of one man who thought that this was a good idea in the first place. Nobody
Yeah.
told him to unify these titles.
is the draft Friday or Monday?
Both.
Both. Interesting.
Starts
Yeah.
Friday, ends
They
Monday.
do multiple days.
And they're gonna need a new challenger for Roman Reigns either way. Eventually, you're going to need a new challenger. And like if Vince is booking it, I'm sure it's someone that Roman's already beaten. They'll try to run it back. Maybe they do a triple threat. Roman, Brock, Cody. That could be kind of cool.
What happened to that
Uh,
guy who won the Olympic medal?
oh, Gable Stevenson.
Yeah,
Nobody knows.
could be him.
It's out there
For one of those,
somewhere.
for one of those two, it could be.
Definitely not. Yeah. I think he's technically on Raw. Like they drafted him to Raw like 4 years ago. He's never
I love your exaggeration. It's like Chris would have said, Gable Stevenson, yeah, he got drafted a decade ago. Like, dude, that would have been 10 years old. He's like 22.
No, he literally got drafted in like 2019, I think.
Oh,
2018,
he would have been 17. He's only like 22, dude.
No, he's older than that.
Dude, Gable
They
Stevens.
drafted him pre-COVID.
No,
Yes, they did.
He's
Gable Stevens is 22, dude.
He's 22. Yeah.
Nah, that's no way. They drafted him.
Wait,
Oh no! Oh wait,
he
wait. They didn't call it the draft. That's right. They changed it. I forget when they changed it. Superstar
Superstar
Shake-Up.
shakeup or
dude,
something.
look, this is how I know we're getting old. He was born in 2000. How the fuck is that a thing?
Oh my God, that hurts. That
Like,
hurts.
I told you. He's one of the youngest signees, but like I don't know. I'm not even gonna touch that. That's a whole video discussion podcast on his own.
Oh,
But look,
2021 he got drafted.
yeah.
All
So
right, so he was 19. Okay, so I was off by 2 years. He was still a fucking teenager.
my thing is
I mean, to
what-
us, yeah.
my thing about the whole championship, I wanted to just comment that if Roman was still around, yeah, I think if Roman was still around, but also like then I guess that touches upon the network because like I don't think they would like sharing a champion since they still have a network deal with Fox being
That's
kind
fair.
of would want some like a big prize on their network as well as like, hey, what about us? So I feel like
Yeah.
they would have still ran into that issue. And again, that's Vince's fault. Like, you idiot, you also have two networks to please. Like, it was like, and maybe like yes, maybe he might have even sold them the idea at some point to both networks. Like, you guys get to share it, but that's not with two networks that are big on their cable network
Yeah.
and in their viewerships like most. That's not a very good middle thing to do, or it's just not a smart thing to do. It's like, why would a network ever want to share it? That's why they have their own did their own shows on their respective networks. You got Raw, they got SmackDown. Yes, it's in the
Well,
same universe, but they don't share it. But yeah,
that pretty much does give away Roman and Cody are not going to be on the same show.
probably
So
not.
one network is getting Cody, probably USA. Fox is getting Roman.
So
As
yeah,
they're both very popular. They both do ratings. I think there's probably gonna be a little bit of an argument over what network gets Sammy because Sammy is about on par, if not more popular than both of them still. Although he's cooled off a lot.
yeah,
But yeah, Roman and Cody are not, for those exact reasons that you mentioned, they're not gonna be on the same show.
yep, exactly.
So I don't really know what's going to happen with that world title, but that is why I think Cody is going to be given it, which for
Honestly,
him kind of sucks because the whole story was never about the World Heavyweight Championship
and now it's about
ever.
the WWE Universal.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But this also brings the question that they might just give the heavyweight title to Brock too, and he goes to SmackDown, and Roman goes to Raw, and then Cody can go there. But
No,
again, I don't know.
honestly, if
It,
Brock wants to defend that belt at every pay-per-view, fine. I
he's
just
not
can't
gonna
have
win.
two part-time champions.
But again, Vince doesn't care, and he doesn't care even
No,
about
that
the
is true.
networks. He doesn't even care for the networks they're that are employing the product that he created. So
On the bright side, Vince doesn't own the company anymore.
this is true, but
So
yeah,
there is still one couple, couple of people above him. Not that they care that much about wrestling, but
yeah.
they certainly care about trying to, I would think, keep the networks happy if they want to get a fatter contract going forward. But both shows might be on ESPN next year anyway, so who knows?
Maybe we'll see. But I got nothing else.
Yeah, I say we wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Let us know who you think the new World Heavyweight Champion should be and how you're feeling about the new title overall and the draft coming up on Friday.
Veer Mahan.
He's coming. He is
Ooh,
coming. He's
give it
gonna
to
come
Otis.
so hard.
Otis, yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah,
Gable,
let's
Give it to Otis.
Chad
Shoo!
Gable.
Hey, you know
Chad.
what? On the bright side, now when somebody wins the Money in the Bank briefcase, it might actually be interesting again
Yeah, seriously,
because you don't know who they're gonna cash in on.
seriously.
Same with the Royal Rumble. When you win the Rumble, you actually have to choose instead of it being very obvious who you're going after. So yeah,
True.
it's going to be fun to have two top champions again. And 6 months from now, we're not really going to give a shit how they introduce this.
That is
Yeah.
right.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. Go to bed.
Peace.